Hi everyone, it's Patty. Welcome back to my channel. For today's card project, we are going to be working on a Christmas card using Pink Fresh Studios Simply Blooms die, along with some Distress Oxide inks. The mustard seed you'd see ended up not using, but I did use Lumberjack Plaid, Festive Berries, Worn Lipstick, Rustic Wilderness, Pine Needles, and Evergreen Boughs. And I'm also using dies from the Spellbinders Mix and Match Holiday Greeting Set, which is 50% off right now. And it's a wonderful set. It's on my Christmas cards for the last 2 to 3 years, different words from there. And then just doing some basic ink blending. So let's get started on today's project. So to start the project, I cut out 3 times, twice out of white cardstock, once out of black cardstock, and once out of navy blue. I used the die cut 3 times. And so I put all the petals on one side of my dish, you can see in the upper right, and all the petals on, or all the leaves on the right side, all the petals are on the left. So I'm putting them on my stamping wheel and then ink blending over all of the petals using the festive, nope, I'm lying to you, using the Worn Lipstick first. And then once I get all the petals colored in with the Worn Lipstick, I come back and use Festive Berries. And I am using a domed ink blender from scrapbook.com. And it worked great. I love it, using it for this. And so now I'm coming in with Festive Berries, still using an ink blender for this because I'm going halfway up the petals. And then when I switch over to Lumberjack Plaid, I use this little dauber that I bought that I think is a kind of a makeup brush, but it's got a little spongy tip on the end and it works great just for doing little areas. And then I took my Lumberjack Plaid dauber, or my blender, and blended everything together. Now, similar process for all the leaves. I'm starting with Evergreen Bough and do the entire leaf in Evergreen Bough, and the sticky mat really helps that stay in place. Oh, sorry, that's all gone. And then after Evergreen Bough, I did Pine Needles and then darkened the very tips with Rustic Wilderness. So now I put a little bit of repositional adhesive in my MISTI and then coated this whole card base with repositional adhesive. And I'm putting the frame down, and now I'm just building my puzzle. I'm taking, and I couldn't figure out that shape, taking the petals and putting them in first. Yay, I found it. And then adding all of those in. And I was going to take my colored pencils, so that's another way to elevate the look of this card. You can take your colored pencils then and add striations on the petals and the leaves, or you can take a white pen and add highlights, or you can take a gold pen and add embellishment that way. So that's what's so wonderful about these die sets. They're beautifully designed, but they're not overly done, so that you can personalize and everything to the way you want it to look. So anyway, I finished putting in all the petals, and now I'm adding all of the leaves to the background. And then when that is done, I'm going to bring in all the other background pieces. So it's a pretty solid background. We could have done other things. I think it's beautiful just with the white background. So you could do this and just leave the background white. A pale yellow would have been pretty with these colors, a light blue background, a light gray, all of that would have been really pretty. So I did finish the navy one ahead of time, and then this background is black. So pulling out the pieces, the ones you see me setting aside are actually the petals and that, which I am not going to need. So building the background, and it went fairly quickly. I think, what was I doing? I was watching an hour-long program, and I had both of these cards done and was getting ready to photograph them by the time the hour was up. So it really went quickly. So there was a couple of spots where I did not get any adhesive for the little pieces, so I put some glue in those spots to add those pieces in. Like I said, it's like building a puzzle. I think a lot of us have seen this before, but this is such a lovely way to relax because it's not a hard puzzle. It's not a frustrating puzzle. It's pretty straightforward. The little triangles, I have to tell you, were not the easiest to get in. I think that was the hardest one. There was one like the size of a pinhead. I should have just colored the cardstock black underneath it and no one would have known, but I had to put that little bitty, could barely see it, triangle in. So just getting the last few in, and I know it took me a second to find the last one because I had removed it with the petals. So I'm going through my petals here. And then I found it with there. So these are done. Just getting rid of that repositional adhesive. And you can see there's a little bit of a white edge around my card base. So I just trimmed that off with a scissors. That was no big deal. So now I have my Gonzai Tambi Gem Color watercolor paints. And so I used the yellow gold and the gem red and just put some water in it and stirred it up. And for some reason, I could not get the splatters to go where I wanted, so I had to break out the old block and do it that way to get the splatters to go where I wanted them to. They did end up on my armchair. They ended up on top of my iPad, and some of them ended up on another project that I had going on. But for some reason, I couldn't get them on the card tops, which is kind of the story of my life. So now I'm adding the gem red. And when I finished that up, to make them look more like poinsettias, I used some gold crystals by Studio Katia. And that little bag holds a lot, and there's so many different sizes in there. They worked so well. So I glued those down, and then for the sentiment, as I said before, I used Spellbinder's Mix and Match Holiday Greetings. And so I cut them out 3 times for each card. 2 of the times I used the background color, so either navy blue or black, to get a little dimension, glued those together, and then I used red foil paper for the top layer, and I used the red and the gold, and this foil paper is from Michael's, I believe. It's a Recollections. It's beautiful. I'm all about the mom and pop shops and helping them out, but let me tell you, this product is wonderful. It's a lighter weight foil, cuts beautifully, has a beautiful shimmer. I'm really glad I bought it, and if I see some more, I'm going to buy some more. So getting the red adhered, and one of the great things about this greeting set is that the eyes are somehow attached to another part of a letter, so you're not looking for the tittle of the eye everywhere. It's attached. It's always there. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, that was just well done by Spellbinders. So once I get the greetings adhered, then I'm just using Verily Arts glue to glue them down. So the sentiments are 3 layers high, and it was just the right amount of dimension for that. I'm going to take a couple of card bases, and I'm going to stamp using Hero Arts Snowflake Messages, and I combined 2 of the sentiments from that stamp set. And I've had that stamp set for a couple years, and I love it. And I know there's snowflakes all around the messages, and there's no snowflakes on my card, but I didn't care. I think the messages are perfect, and I live in Minnesota, so snowflakes around Christmas is just right. I did not season the stamps before I used them. This is the first time using these greetings out of that stamp set, so I had to stamp it 4 times before I got it done correctly. So I did that inside the card bases, and then I always like to use my ATG gun when attaching card bases to card panels to card bases. So getting that one glued on again, see the white, there was just a little bit I needed to trim off. And no one will be the wiser. So using the ATG adhesive again for this, and that'll finish up my card project. And I want to thank you all for coming today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining me. and we will catch you soon. Bye-bye.